1 week after President-elect Donald Trump won back the White House, some Democrats are already linking arms to resist his incoming administration. Two Democratic governors, Illinois' J.B. Pritzker and Colorado's Jared Polis, have launched an alliance called Governors Safeguarding Democracy. The goal is to create a so-called toolbox with policies and methods for states to respond to federal actions taken by Trump during his second term. Meanwhile, congressional Democratic leaders say they plan to hold private meetings with rank-and-file members over the next 3 weeks to discuss what they believe went wrong with the election and how to move forward. In a story with the New York Times last week, Massachusetts Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton said he believes, quote, Democrats spend way too much time trying not to offend anyone rather than being brutally honest about the challenges many Americans face. He went on to say, quote, I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. Well, Massachusetts Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton joins me now. Congressman, thanks for being here.
Good to see you.
You've been getting flack for those comments, but you've been doubling down, saying the Democratic Party is out of touch. Do you accept the GOP's premise that Vice President Kamala Harris stood for they/them and Trump stands for everyone else?
And the problem was that she didn't even respond to those attacks, and we need to answer those attacks. We need to have a better plan for trans people and for all the other issues that Americans care about. Whether we like it or not, we have to accept that we have to be able to fight back against the Republican attacks. And you know what? The backlash I've received for even raising the issue proves my point, that we have trouble as a party just simply having discussions about these complicated issues. And we need to. We need to, whether we want to or not, because they were influential in the election, and the election proved that Democrats are just out of touch with the majority of Americans.
How would you have advised her campaign to counter those attacks, those ads?
Well, first of all, say something. I mean, don't just ignore the attack. Have a response. I think that she should have explicitly said that she wouldn't support gender transition surgery for prisoners. That would have been, I think, that would have diffused a lot of the attacks. And she could have also added, by the way, that the Biden administration was continuing a policy started by the Trump administration when it came to that particular procedure. So there are absolutely ways to answer this charge. I don't know why she was just silent.
According to our CBS News confirmed team, the CDC estimates about 3% of high school students identify as transgender. While there's no national data on transgender students in high school level sports, at a college level, an LGBTQ advocacy group, Athlete Ally, estimates there are fewer than 40 NCAA athletes known to be transgender out of the more than 500,000. Yet Republicans spent $215 million on anti-trans political ads this election cycle, according to Ad Impact. Are Republicans better at hijacking messaging? What do Democrats need to do to land theirs?
We need to have a policy. We need to have a rational policy that answers the Republican attacks and presents a better way forward. And it's not just on trans issues. It's on the border. How is it that Republicans are more trusted on the border when Trump just wants to break up families and communities all across America, ruining our economy in the process by deporting millions of people? How is it that Trump is more trusted on the economy when he wants to raise tariffs so high that it will increase inflation, it will raise prices for everyday consumers, and in the meantime, he's just going to cut taxes for his billionaire friends? It's crazy that the Republican Party is actually more trusted on a variety of issues by the American people when the Democratic Party actually has better policies. In some cases, we just need to have a policy at all. And that's why I've been encouraged by a conversation I've been having in recent days with folks on the Hill, with people back in the district, including a lot of LGBTQ advocates, some of whom, by the way, agree with the exact concern that I raised, others who think that we need to just have a discussion about this, and they want to find a good way forward. It's the refusal of the extremists in our party to even have a discussion about these things. Those who have just called me to resign because I raised the issue, that's the real problem here.
Should it be more important to Democrats moving forward, trying to appeal to as many people as possible to win seats and legislate, or championing progressive ideals? Do you think the party can do both? Should the party try and do both?
Absolutely. I mean, here's the reality. We can't protect people who need protection if we don't have any levers of power in Washington. Because make no mistake, Trump and the Republicans, with their hateful extremist policies, they are going to come after trans people and other minorities all across America. They've been very explicit about that. We need to be in a position to uphold American values, to uphold civil rights, to simply protect women's rights when it comes to reproductive freedom, for example. But we can't do that if we don't win elections. And we got wiped out last Tuesday.
So I'm hearing you say, Congressman, that you at least think that the Democratic Party should not be afraid to have some of those difficult conversations. Before we let you go, as a Marine Corps veteran, I want to ask you for your reaction to Donald Trump's announcement that he plans to nominate Fox News anchor Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary.
Pete Hegseth has made a career of politicizing the military. That's not what the military needs, and it's fundamentally against American values. The military should be professionals who are separated from the political process. So I'm very concerned about this nomination. Pete Hegseth cares about veterans, but he doesn't have the experience, the background, or really the mindset to be an effective Secretary of Defense.
What does that mean, Congressman, for the United States as a global power, really on the world stage, and also just its ability to defend itself?
Well, our credibility is on the line. And it's not just credibility when we talk to our adversaries or our allies. It's credibility when it comes to our deterrence. You know, if the world thinks that autocrats like Vladimir Putin can get away with wars of aggression, then we could see a major war starting in the Pacific over Taiwan. Donald Trump has already pledged not to stop. So the implications here are very serious. If we don't have a strong, united national security policy with a credible team behind it, then our adversaries will walk all over us. And that should concern every American. We don't need more wars. We need credible deterrence. And that means credible leaders at the Department of Defense.
Congressman Seth Moulton, thank you for your time.